joyful hello to all of you. My name is Minku Bhutar, founder of the Circle of Joy that brings you self-mastery programs and retreats. It gives me great joy to bring to you this season's talk show, a series of interviews on choosing joy, secrets, and stories from all over the world. It is my diligent attempt to show you that joy is not a hockey-pocky, frivolous concept, but a discipline, a way of life much needed. If you want to be resilient, radiant, and unstoppable like a runaway train. So subscribe to my channel so that you can tap into the wisdom of people from all over the world. I will see you there.
Done, madam?
Yes, namaste everyone. My name is Minku Bhutar, your host from India. And once again, I welcome you back to this talk show, Choosing Joy, Secrets and Stories from Around the World. I am so grateful that you turn up each time. And for those who have diligently followed me on all my talk shows, you will understand that my guest speakers are from all over the world. Today, though, is very special. Today, I'm going to bring you back into India, which is also my country. I'm very proud to be an Indian. And as you can see from my traditional avatar today, I'm just so connected to what we're going to speak about, because my guest speaker is going to talk a lot about ancient wisdom, which has been part of our scriptures. And this will be very interesting for any one of you out there in the world. So we might switch a little bit to Hindi. So please, I advise you to just stay and listen to the interview, because end of the day, it's a very deep and meaningful, and it might help your ascension process. So let me introduce my guest speaker before I bring him on. He is an ex-administration officer of Government of Haryana. He's a governor awardee. So I'm really honored to have him. He's the CEO and founder of Tapas Foundation. He's director of Go Content Galore, member of Global Alliance of Justice Education California. He's a consultant at Counting Bridge, Vancouver, Canada. He's welfareist. He's a motivational speaker, spiritual and meditational guide for the corporate sector. He's a reformist, author, content strategist, and it goes on. Now, I loved it because when we first connected with my guest speaker, he called himself a spiritual companion. And it's true. It's true. As I got to know him better, he offers such an immense and very precise body of knowledge about the nature of reality and the process of spiritual realization, which is our topic today. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming all the way from North India, Narendra Kumar Malhotra ji. Thank you for being on the show, Narendra ji.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much that you have invited me to be a guest in this spiritual discussion. And as not only me, you are a personality which is known for the contribution to the factor of joy, which is missing out in the society fastly, and try to get it back and restore it to the society by way of your interviews and talk shows. Congratulate you for that. I again and again congratulate you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
The questions, whatever I can contribute spiritually for the upliftment of the society and enrich the society in spiritual manner. Please, madam.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Narendra ji. I've been waiting. We've been both waiting to bring this significant knowledge to our wide audience, because it's such a global audience that listens to these episodes. So I'm very excited that your knowledge and what we bring to the table today is going to go beyond the Indian borders. So let's just start, since we're talking about spiritual realization. A lot of people do window shopping and people read so much, but really today, let's just help them इंडियन ऑडियंस भी होगी सो थोड़ा बहुत जब आपको लगे कि you know we want to speak in Hindi a little bit we should but अगर हम ये समझा सकते हैं दुनिया को हमारे ऑडियंस को what exactly my first question what is spiritual realization how would you phrase it in your language
It is like that, madam, that the spiritualization has more or less become such a brand for selling, particularly in India. And it has become so confused when this has been mixed with ritualism and exorcism.
Mm.
And everything is being sold in the name of spirituality. I assess myself, I confess myself, and I profess myself as a spiritual scientist.
Mm.
And I will talk to the people through your good self in very scientific terms without any obscurantism or vagueness in my version about any aspect, any question about spirituality. As I have confidently declared myself from the housetop that I am a spiritual scientist. I talk about scientific spirituality. When we talk about scientific spirituality, it means the laboratory comes into picture. If you want to make water, take 2 contents of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen, and the water will come out to be there. Similarly, with this brief background, I will touch the question and try to reply to what is spiritual realization. So, in order to under the spiritual realization, it is necessary to understand this human body. This human body, which is visibly an anatomical body, which is visibly a pathological body, a medical body being dealt with in medical science, has 2 aspects. One, as I said, is the pathological, anatomical. Then the parallel to it stands the astral body, also called ethereal body, also called causal body, also called spiritual body. There are 2 parallel selves in this self. And this astral body is connected with our physical body at 7 places. These are called 7 spiritual centers, starting from the bottom to the top. So, this spiritual body means body relating to our spirit. Spirit is soul. Soul is conscience. These are parallel and synonymous of soul. So, by way of meditation and by way of different meditational techniques, this soul realization, this presence of conscious self, this presence of spirit is come to stand to us as a realization of this sense, of this self. So the realization of this spiritual self, this astral self, this ethereal self, which is connected through this soul to the God, is called spiritual realization.
Wonderful. So beautiful.
If you and me close our eyes and we find before the forehead just a dark black color, this is the color which we have inherited when we are only acting as a physical body, as a medical body. But in spirituality, this color will go into changes for 7 colors: green, yellow, violet, indigo, red, blue, red, white. As the chakras, every chakra has got a particular color, and its fructification and its activation will throw this color on the forehead screen that is behind this forehead, right between the 2 eyebrows. And then we will realize, and we will have different experiences. We will enter a different mystic world, which is unexplored so far by a non-meditationist. So this is called, in brief, spiritual realization. This is what to my mind it is.
Yeah, that's amazing. In fact, Narendra ji, and for the sake of all our non-Indian friends who are going to listen to this, when I say Narendra ji, it is a sign of respect. And sometimes we can be, the same age in India, and it's so beautiful to be able to explain the Indian culture to everyone. And the other thing that came to me is when you talked about, your point here, uh, the Indian woman wears this, what we call the
Exactly.
bindi.
Exactly.
Yes, and that also, the whole process of putting the bindi is initiating, and it stimulates one of our chakras. So there's always a science behind everything that happens in India. So, just to give you my take on that spiritual realizations that you so beautifully talked about, I also find that the process of self-realization has to come in before you connect it to the spiritual realization itself. And self-realization, Narendra ji, is not an end goal. It's more of a ongoing, open-ended process of
Exactly.
discovery, right? According to me. And we, like you so beautifully said, we discover mysteries, and it leads to liberation. And we humans have the potential to be free, and we are simple beings, and we can embrace, like you said, joy that I talk about, and it's available to everyone in the cosmos. But the problem here is, Narendra ji, that life is moving very fast. We all have errands to run, work to do, commitments to uphold, and this self-discovery and realization that you're talking about, the spiritual realization, it actually sometimes is the last thing on our mind, right? It's a mad pace. So for you, who was with the admin services of the Indian government, and then you've gone onto this beautiful path where you're sharing your wisdom, how do you suggest that someone in that mad pace, how do you wake up yourself? How do you dive inside yourselves to find our authentic self? What, according to you, is the starting point?
It's a very good question, and it's very helpful for the listeners to follow that if you want to wake up your spiritual self, if you want to further go into the self-realization as you talked about, so I would like to explain that it is the breath, it is the breathing, which is the only instrument and tool which passes through all the spiritual centers right from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
If you inhale from your left nostril and if you exhale from your right nostril, enchanting the name of your deity, whosoever it is, maybe Lord Krishna, maybe Shiva, maybe Guru Granth Sahib, maybe Om, maybe Allah, whatsoever it is. So that will help you in waking up this dormant faculties, these inert faculties, these so far said to be useless faculties. And when once these are active, you will go deeper into the things. This self, you will see for yourself, is left behind as a fast moving train has gone ahead and certain villages have been left far behind. You will enter into a mystic realm full of mysticism. Now the realm of humanity is left behind, and the realm of divinity you have stepped in. And it is only the meditation, it is only the pranayama that will help you going into deeper into it. At some later stage, we will discuss the different type of, these are two types of meditations. In present, from 15 to 20 are in vogue, in generally being practiced. So we should take up one by one to enrich and help the listeners that how to go on to this path for a better and earlier
Yeah.
achievement of the goal.
Right. So I think I'm going to bring up meditation as well. I'm very inspired by what you're saying. And, you know, in episodes, I allow the life force of our talks to go in the direction it has to. But, you know, when you were speaking, something came up to me as well. If you've heard of Viktor Frankl, he actually, he survived very horrific circumstances in a Nazi concentration camp. And because his studies are still read till today, and he said that his survival depended on maintaining this sense of meaning and purpose. Like, if you have meaning and purpose in life, and if you say that spiritual realization is my ultimate intention and focus, so I think that could be really a good starting point, don't you think? When you form that intention and focus from the
Yeah.
heart, because you know, like I talked, the life has such moving so fast that people are not still for long enough. So meditation, yes, it could help uh, for a deeper self-discovery process, but it's an ongoing process, right? So to deep dive into the Atma, subconscious, you will need courage, you will need resilience, because where I'm going with this, Narendraji, that this discovery that you're talking about, when you sit and you align your chakras and in that stillness, sometimes it's very scary because you learn things about yourself that you find very, very hard to accept, because there's beautiful places and there's dark spaces. So ये जो हम bravery or himmat and courage की बातें करते हैं, you got to be courageous in life to do this, do that. I think that courage needs to start first in your self-discovery. So how can people get rid of this, they have this fear that we cannot sit still. We don't know what will come out in those internalization moments. What do you suggest? How can you get away with these fears? How do you sit still?
It's a very good question, madam, and very inspiring. I am feeling to reply this
Uh-huh.
in the sense that let me explain in brief the characteristics of each of the chakras.
Wonderful.
So, courage you need. You activate the navel center, that is called solar plexus, that is situated near navel center.
Yeah.
And this center is also a center of strength, and strength, along with strength, it's a center of will and enthusiasm and optimism and activism and positivism. You see, the fear is being gripped by you in the mind.
Yeah.
And the fresh waves of enthusiasm rising after activation of this chakra will send such waves full of optimism to your mind and will remove all types of fear. Similarly, when you pass through a desert and the dust is stored on your windscreen while moving in a car and you start the wiper blades, the windscreen is absolutely cleaned.
Yes.
So all the emotions like fear and all the emotions like anger, jealousy, comparisons, which are eating into the professionals of the corporate sector, and if I say the society at large, will get vanished away, and you will see the transformation of yourself. You will see from distance that how anger came and went without affecting you. It will be a transcendental experience in your life. And fear is also born out of lack of enlightenment, which will be supplied to your this brain, this mind, which is part of the anatomical body, from the supermind, which is part of the astral body, situated at exactly that place that you cited, कि जहां औरतें बिंदी लगाती हैं और आदमी तिलक लगाते हैं.
Yeah, and that's why.
सर, सेपरेटली देख लीजिए मैडम. राइट साइड में एनाटॉमिकल बॉडी है, उसमें माइंड है, माइंड के लिमिटेशंस हैं. वो एक लिमिट से आगे नहीं जा सकता. On the other hand, there is supermind. Supermind also includes intuition, foresightedness, and superconsciousness. And you will be surprised to know and see this unexplored fact and arena that so far we are thinking because of ignorance that this body is receiving directions from this mind and brain. Now, after enlightenment, after practicing the supermind part of this astral body, all the neurologists who were crying from the housetop that this body is receiving messages and directions from this mind, when they entered the realm of spirituality, they switched over to, they reversed their decisions and they have researched and agreed that there is some force, there is some supernatural force, there is divine force which is acting, which is conveying through this super mind, super consciousness to this mind, and which is carrying out its order.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
if you get the information, madam, fear comes from the present circumstances that you are passing through an economic crisis. If you are already told before 2 months that you are going to enter into a phase of financial crisis, and this is the way you will enter, and this is the way you will exit. Now you are entering into the divine realm. So, all the fears connected with the human realm are still having hangover with us. They will take time to vanish away.
Very true. Very true.
Therefore, I want to inculcate this frustration in all the listeners that be meditative without wasting even a single moment.
And you don't have to leave this earth. You don't have to go and live in a cave. Wherever we are, right? Wherever we happen to be, that in itself, we are in our true nature, and it's no point striving to be somewhere else, correct?
Exactly, madam. Exactly. Heart is there. The astral part is Vishuddha Chakra. If you want to develop compassion, try this chakra. If you want good elocution, as you have got divinely bestowed upon you, you need to develop your throat chakra.
Yes. This is
Vishuddha and Anahad is heart, and Vishuddha is throat chakra.
Throat chakra. Your expression is very important as well, isn't it? Yeah.
So throat chakra, who are very good in elocution, as you are very, very good, you are divinely bestowed with certain inborn qualities.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So
that's
everything. God has given struggle to mankind and also given provisions to deal with the struggle if he or she tries to venture out into the realm of divinity, madam.
That is amazing. Narendra, I'm enjoying this so much. Your answers are just hitting exactly like the mark, the arrow, or exactly where it's supposed to land. Very thought-provoking, and I love how you're laying it down so clearly, these steps, how to get a step closer and a step closer to self-discovery. How do you start, and how do you get closer to your own divinity, because it's not outside of you. So I was just thinking, you mentioned something that I want to pick up again just now. You talked, in fact, we talked about it even in our last talk offline. That, there's some inner qualities that you just talked about, faculties. See, you have this boundless love, compassion, we've got peace, strength, joy, clarity. But somehow you talked about the car going in the desert, and these become very, very obscured. Apart from what you just said, how can we awaken strength, joy, clarity, so that what I'm trying to get at is we do this in an individual capacity, yes. A lot of people are not aware, and I want to know your views, that each person needs to do their bit in their own capacity, and we are all contributors to the universal consciousness. So how can a person be contributing to the universal consciousness? What does science say about this concept of universal consciousness?
It's one of the ultimate questions in spirituality, man. One of the ultimate questions. And you have put me in such a task in very first
I'm
interview.
so sorry, but it just
I will have
came.
to be-
It's following its own course.
I will
Yeah.
have to be very careful while facing you
Yes.
again.
Yes.
Madam, you are talking about joy. Circle of Joy is the name of your institution, your channel. That's a very beautiful name.
Thank you.
And the biggest problem with the humankind is the biggest problem for the humankind is one, that they are finding happiness and joy in objects which are different to you. If someone has got car, it's an object giving happiness. Someone has got purchased very good house, it's giving happiness. So happiness is every time is depending upon some object. Subject like you and me or whosoever will find happiness out of that object. God has, divinity has provisioned for objectless happiness. That is called bliss in spirituality within yourself.
Yeah.
That is activation of navel center. After activation of navel center, madam, for the first time in your life, you will laugh without a joke and you will smile without a cause. Otherwise, all the smiles and causes depended upon the jokes and something else.
External factors, correct.
It was external factor. Now it is you, subject as well object. So second thing you talked about inner finer qualities. So all the senses, 5 senses, touching, hearing, seeing, feeling, and the 5th one, they are externally, tasting. These are externally functioning every time with the human beings. So after activation of third eye center, Ajna center, that is Agya Chakra, that is third eye center, as I said, development of the supermind, and the higher stage is super consciousness, that will fill you with a sense of love that is called universal love.
Beautiful.
That is called universal love. And as I have said earlier, I am a spiritual scientist, so I will tell you how you develop this universal love. Means ki any your enemy, ABCD, whosoever lives in you an inimical effect on your mind and heart and body, you will be able to forgive him. Similarly, so far you were depending upon the object to smile. Now you will depend upon your subject only to forgive him, because यहाँ मैं 3 चीजों को explain करना चाहूंगा, madam. What is sin and what is immunity from sin?
And when you say sin, are you saying the misdeeds that the human does?
Misdeed. If and immunity from that sin, immunity from that misdeed. Here I will also repeat that ego and immunity from ego. It how happens that after the activation of the third center, you will have an intuition and foresightedness of the forthcoming happenings. If today someone hits me a blow, I will give him back 2 blows. Very simple reaction. This is an egoistic reaction of this non-meditative pathological self led by brain.
Yeah.
उसने गाली दे दी तो मैं 4 दूंगा.
बिल्कुल. We are operating from the mind, correct.
Now listen the working of the super brain, super mind, super consciousness. 2 months before the event, this person is going to hit you a blow, will be conveyed to you by your divinity, by your deity, by your meditational practices, by way of hearing device and by way of video vision. This your black screen behind the forehead will work as a screen exactly as this TV screen or movie screen.
So the unfolding is brought to you beforehand.
madam. And the inner voice will convey to you from the same ears which were so far listening to the external voices. This is called internalization of the senses by way of meditation.
Beautiful.
Now you will start, madam, you will start waiting for that event to happen, that when this person, because of some misdeeds or sins from my last birth which I was carrying with me, when he will come, when he will hit me, when he will immune me from this egoistic impulse, and when he will immune me from this sin. And where the same event which could cause an egoistic reaction will turn into, मैं आपको प्रणाम करता हूँ, आपने मुझे उस पाप से मुक्ति दे दी, आप मेरा प्यार करें, मेरे लिए कोई और कार्य हो। यहाँ गांधी जी ने कहा था कि एक थप्पड़ मारे तो दूसरा गाल सामने कर देना। यहाँ गुरु नानक देव ने कहा था कि हुक्म हर जाई नाल चलना, उसका ही हुक्म चलेगा और किसी का नहीं।
Very, very beautiful.
This is the major difference between the two.
Yes.
When your super consciousness is getting activated, the same five senses will hear to the words of the divinity, will see the visions of the divinity, will feel the fragrances of the divinity, will sense the smells of the flowers arising in the garden of the divinity, and all that, madam. This is entirely a different topic. We shall take it up some other.
Yes, I know. And this was not even something that we said we're going to talk about, but I guess whoever out there is listening needs to listen. And I think I'm just going to recap, what I've understood. Very important because it was so profane and it was so deep. Narendra ji, so basically, if we surrender, if we align ourselves to, whatever our internalization is, then the awakening of our intuition. Also, I think there is trust, faith, and surrender involved in this, because if you feel you are the doer, you're not the doer, right? This is something that you work towards, and then you say you get this intuition, you get this premonition that something is going to happen, a challenge is going to come your way, and then you're so aware and prepared that you know how to react. Basically, you don't act and you don't react, but you receive the incidents with a lot of maturity, a lot of awakened senses of yours. And that is beautiful, because in the moment when it comes, you are so prepared. And I love this, Narendra, what you said about spreading love, that any enmity, prejudices that we carry, the hurt we carry, the perceived injustices that we carry, all that can be diffused with love. And
exactly.
It can be diffused. It comes down to love. And when you are in love with the universe, then you're also individually in joy. And that's stated in all states of Sufism. The Buddha qualities in Mahayana Buddhism talks about it. They always talk about the essence of love, how we only perceive it by its physical senses, but it, according to you, and from what I understand as well, it can be recognized by your subtle inner capacities or faculties. And that goes deeper than our soul. It's so beautiful. Now, let's you had something else to say.
You motivated me to add two things, madam, here, which is quite relevant.
Sure, please do.
You talked about that that's the moment we become egoless. And I will here like to add that the crux of the Gita is action and not reaction. गीता में कर्म की बात की गई है। हम प्रतिकर्म कर रहे हैं, प्रतिक्रिया कर रहे हैं, कर्म नहीं कर रहे। वो जो उस बंदे ने घुसा मारा, हमने दो मारे, वो सब रिएक्शंस हैं। और our day to day life, we are only reacting, we are not acting. कर्म कर्म है, वो प्रतिकर्म नहीं है, वो प्रतिक्रिया नहीं। And second thing which I would like to add, that this is the exact definition of love and universal love, लेकिन ये जो सिनेमा है और ये हर गली मोहल्ले में कहा जाता है आई लव यू, ये वहां पे आके अपना मतलब खो चुका
Yes, yes, the casual approach, or limiting the approach,
है।
love and self-centeredness. It has to go beyond that. It
It
has to
has to
go
go
beyond
beyond that.
boundaries.
It
Right.
has to go beyond that. And husband wife are the best friends to touch this height. Apart from their routine life, they have got this opportunity to touch upon this higher status of love, which so far they are considering physical love as love. So this is
Yes.
something different. We shall take up this topic in details on some.
Heightened. It's a heightened sense of universal love. And
Exactly.
you're absolutely right. We have to become. So I'm a student of Swami Dayananda Saraswati ji, who has taken Mahasamadhi. And the one thing I remember him distinctly, and I will till my last breath, is he says our ultimate purpose in this life is to become not a consumer but a contributor. So I think we do need to awaken to our essential nature, which is we are light beings. No, Narendra ji,
Exactly.
we are light beings having a human experience and not the other way
Yeah.
around. And that's where people get stuck, right?
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge the presence of a higher source. And this, like you said, this can be part of a self-inquiry system. So from the self-discovery, we've reached beautifully the self-inquiry. So tell us, and then I'm going to bring you back to meditation, which goes back to 10,000 years in India. How can someone sit and say, okay, I'm ready for the self-inquiry process? Is there a process what is the starting point for a self-inquiry?
Yeah. Another beautiful question, madam. Your questionnaire is really, really very inspiring for the people
Thank you so
and
much.
for motivating for the speaker as well, because you compel him to touch and go deeper into. Madam, if you sit in the meditation, let me explain the course of sequence, that particular sequence, which from a human consciousness, individual consciousness, normal consciousness, and that will take you from this consciousness to super consciousness. Okay, let me sit in the corner for meditation. So I'm explaining the sequence that is like self-discipline, self-search, next step, self-analysis, self-approval. आपको मानना पड़ेगा कि आप में ये कमी है.
We're talking about the scary spaces that we talked about.
You are vis-a-vis you. Now you are vis-a-vis you are in front of yourself. यहाँ कोई धोखाधड़ी नहीं चलेगी. So self-discipline, self-search, self-analysis, self-approval, self-transformation, self-amelioration, self-awareness, self-enlightenment, liberation, salvation.
Beautiful.
ये ह्यूमन कॉन्शियस से सुपर कॉन्शियसनेस तक ये स्टेप्स हैं. कठिन है, तपस्या है, थोड़ा कोई
It is
टीचर
a tapasya. It is drid tapasya, because there is a lot of sacrifices involved. But Anandaji, I think just by observing your experiences, till you become clear of who you are, and you have to come to a point where you start to question. Now, yesterday I was doing a book reading, my new book, Mission Hope, where I talk about hope, which is a bridge to joy. I've been very blessed to be writing this with 17 other authors. We were speaking, yesterday was 7 July of the 7th month, which means we need to understand that we have portals. I know we're not going to go into this but portals open up, and these are times in the universe. Since we're talking about universal acknowledgement of what's happening, you can do leaps. If you allow yourself, you can actually go leaps, because we're all trying to get from the third to the fifth dimension. And you start making a questioning yourself, what's making me feel like this? Why do I feel like this? Why? So that self-inquiry that you so beautifully explained is really the true nature. And that is the thread, I think, which will tie you to your every. So it's like pearls. And then you said this steps
Yeah.
actually take you together to where you want to. Now, you've always said throughout our session that meditation is one way to reach there. I think, us Indian civilization has an unbroken tradition that goes back to, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 BC. Even when the Vedas were composed 10,000 years ago by, Manu at the Saraswati River. But I think meditation, chanting has been part of this Indian civilization. And yet,
Right. Yes.
Narendra ji, when
Yeah.
I led a meditation yesterday, when I talked to the millennials, having grown up in this culture, we are still unable to sit still and meditate. So this is powerful, because before we end the session, I really want you to share, how does one meditate? Okay, so just imagine that I have, come to you, or some listener has never meditated because it's scary, they don't know how to start. Can you give a simple synopsis of how do they start to meditate?
Madam, the way you explained the history and the magnanimity and the hugeness of the meditation may scare the fresh meditators away from meditation.
No, I'm seeing this the other way, that here is a heritage and you're not claiming it.
That's right. That's right.
Here's
But
yeah. So let's make this easy. Let's make this easy.
let's-
And Narendra Kumar Malhotra ji is going to make this easy. Please tell us.
very, very easy, madam. Very easy.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, when you take up a cup of coffee, you will take at least 10 to 12 minutes to finish that coffee. Okay, just after that, there are so many relaxing musics and meditational musics available on internet. So put that part of music which is most liked by you and attune it with meditation. Close your eyes and start meditating on either third chakra or on your breath or on navel center. Take it just easy, like taking a cup of tea. Or even, let's go far ahead in this corporate world, even during taking a cup of coffee, you can close your eyes and enjoy that music, but with putting in an input of meditation. You're going to bed. You are not going to bed and go and enter into sleep. You will take at least 15 to half an hour going into
Well,
entering into
it takes me 2 minutes, but yes, a lot of people are finding it very, very hard to sleep as well. You're right.
Whatever time is, you start meditating it. While driving car, you use the headphones and enjoy that meeting. Once meditation is become interesting, so it will attract you. And all of a sudden, someday, that spark will touch you. जैसे plug लगाते हैं ना सॉकेट में, वो एक बिजली की spark, वो कहीं पकड़ लेगी आपको.
You will be sparked one day.
You will be sparked. You will have a divine spark, and you will shake up your. You will shake up your body. But do meditation. Sit in the corner in the morning. और कोई जरूरी नहीं है जमीन पे चौकड़ी मार के बैठा सोफे पे बैठो.
You are so right. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes.
मतलब मेक इट इजी. 10 मिनट बेडरूम में कर लिया बैठ के, फिर 5 मिनट आप ड्राइंग रूम में आ गए, कोई नहीं है वहां कर लो, फिर बालकोनी में चले गए, फिर कार में चले गए, फिर एक गार्डन में घूम रहे हैं तब कर लीजिए. और remember, madam, your first meditative step in the world of divinity is recorded there. It is immediately recorded there, and the moment all the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Ganesh, इंद्र सबके सिंहासन हिलने शुरू हो जाते हैं कि ओहो ऊपर बंदा हमारी कुटी में आ रहा है.
That is so beautiful. Yes.
And immediately what will happen? your accumulated deeds of the past birth will get started burning, and feel your life passing through a faster pace. वो तुरंत आने शुरू हो जाएंगे, जलने शुरू हो जाएंगे. इसीलिए थोड़ा टीचर की जरूरत पड़ती है, क्योंकि कई बार घबराहट हो जाती है कि मेरे तो चारों तरफ का माहौल बदलना शुरू.
Yes, and not only that, Narendra ji, you also find, मेरी समझ ये है और मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ये है कि आसपास के लोग भी हिल जाते हैं. तुम खुद तो हिलते ही हो. I mean, you are shaken, right? Because you start discovering so much. And it's scary to go into a realm that you don't understand. But also people around you are shaken because they sense a change in you. And I have experienced this, right?
Exactly.
I have experienced this. My journey has been a very internalization journey, and I have studied with a lot of evolved masters. And just by going, say, 10 days to the Ganga, to Rishikesh, like I'm going again this month, you come back a different person, right? Because you have been so mindful, you have been with a collection of people. That's why satsang in India is considered so. When you pray together, the collective energy is so much stronger that people around you also get shaken, right? So the idea is not to lose track, and people will eventually settle down and just be. I always say this to everyone, just be. Don't try to do something. It will happen. It will happen. Just be patient. So
I will like to add, for the sake of more clarity, 2 words. So far you were unmeditative and your personality was circular. जमीन पे ही घूम रही. Into the realm of meditation, your personality becomes spiral. आपने spring देखा होगा ना, जो गोल भी होता है और ऊपर भी जाता है.
Correct.
This is the difference. The entire system around you, the entire society around you, they will find you changing. You will find their responses changing, and there will be vertical upliftment of your self, your personality, and similarly, the society will also change, and you will enter into new societies.
So one thing I'll add here, Narendra ji, it's so important that when we meditate and we are in this heightened energy spiral, it's also very important that we do not contain that energy and the power of that meditation and ask for very minimalism of things. Sometimes we get so minuscule कि हम इतना कुछ ऊपर वाला देने के लिए तैयार है और हम छोटी सी चीज मांग के वहीं पे रह जाते हैं कि we need to extend this energy to the universe. And I invite all our listeners who are into meditation or are going to beautifully embark on their new journeys of self-discovery and realize a spiritual unfolding after this beautiful session with Narendra Kumar Malhotra ji, that please use that as an opportunity to send energy to the world. Send it to the places that needs it. Send it to the places that are in conflict. Send it to the places that need conflict resolution, the prisons, the hospitals, and all the war-torn places in the world. If we could do that, we are in complete purpose of the light beings we are here. Narendra ji, thank you so much. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of my episodes. I always do some very wonderful, like Karan Johar does. We do some rapid fire round because see, I'm a joy queen, and I always say, and you said it too, let's not take life too seriously. It's one thing to sit in self-inquiry, but it's also about keeping your energy light. So I'm going to ask you 4 or 5 questions so that, we finish the session like I always do. And please keep your answers to 1 sentence maximum or 1 word. So with your permission, can I start with the first question?
Yeah, please.
Okay. 1 thing that the world needs right now.
Universal collective consciousness.
Beautiful, heightened. The one powerful adjective for love.
Truth.
True. It needs to be authentic and truthful.
Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Sundaram. Thank
is
you.
God is
Beautiful. Why should someone forgive? Just brief. What does it do to us? Why forgive?
The forgiveness enables you to embark upon the journey from humanity to divinity.
Thank you so much. That was not so difficult. I was very kind, wasn't I? So, Narendra, thank you for being so open, so informative. I think we have planted some seeds together, especially your wisdom. I'm just hoping that it will create spirals and spirals of universal love. Thank you so much for coming in, being a guest on my talk show. And let's send this out to the universe, this messaging with a lot of love. And please join me to say bye to all of our listeners
Thanks to you.
in India and all over. I hope you enjoyed being here on this show.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye. Until I see you all, stay blessed and start your journey with a spiritual realization and the